Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see how to create a binary file to store the employee details and also how to read the employee details from the file and then calculate the employee wages, weekly wages, and also display the details in alphabetical order on the screen. So you're going to see the question first. Write a program using binary file concept for the following. Create a binary file emp.dat containing records for n employees. That means you're going to get the number of employees first and then you're going to store the data. So what are the data you're going to store is emp code to store the employee code, which is of long data type. Emp name to store the name of the employee, that is of string data type. Hours worked to store the number of hours worked, that is of integer data type. Rate to store the rate of payment per hour, that is of double data type. So these are the data you are going to store it into a file, that is emp.dat. Now after creating the file, you are going to read it from the file. So read the file and also you are going to compute the weekly wages for each employee as wages equal to hours worked into rate. So hours worked and rate is already stored in the file. You're going to multiply that and then store it into a variable wages and display it on the screen. Okay, so before displaying on the screen, you have to sort the names of the employee in alphabetical order. That means the whole record has to be sorted, okay, based on the employee name. So it should be in alphabetical order. Output the result in the following format. Okay, so you should display it in the column format. So you can see the title, employee wages. Then first column is serial number. You have to display that you should have an allot one a variable for counting the serial number. And then you got the employee code and then employee name, hours worked, rate, and finally weekly wages. So these are the record to be displayed on the screen. Okay. So now we are going to see how to do this in BlueJ. So you already discussed about binary files. So you are going to just go briefly about it. So here you can see the variables, okay, as per the question: long emp code string, emp name, int hours worked, and then double rate. And then this n is nothing but to get from the user how many number of employees you are going to store it. Okay. Now next line is buffer reader. You are going to create an buffer reader object to get the input from the keyboard. Okay. So this is a normal object which is used to get the input from the keyboard, and then you are going to create a file. So this is the file which you already discussed in the previous videos: data output stream, dw equal to new data output stream, within parenthesis new file output stream emp.dat. So emp.dat is the file name which you are going to create. Now you are going to enter the number of employees and then you are going to store it into the variable n. So this is the input statement which is given. Integer.parseInt is nothing but the wrapper class which is used to store the input. Whatever you read it from the screen will be in string. Convert it into integer and store it into a variable. So br.readline is the input statement which will take the input as string and then convert that string into integer and then store it into n. So this is all already we discussed. And then you know the number of employees you are going to enter. So you can use the for loop. Okay, so it should be from 0 to less than n because the first value will be stored in the position 0. That's the reason. And then you are going to enter all the details. So enter the employee code. So same thing. So long.parseLong br.readline, which will take the string and then convert it into long and store it into employee code, and then br.readline for input the name, okay, emp name, and then hours worked. So it is an integer type, so you have to use integer.parseInt. And then finally a rate is of double data type, so you have to use double.parseDouble, which will convert the string into double and store it into rate. Then this part is nothing but you are going to store all these data into the file. So for long you have to write you have to use write long and store the employee code, and dw.write utf is nothing but unified text format to store the string emp name, and then dw.write int will store the hours work, that is of integer type, and then the final one is write double, which will store the rate, okay, into the file. So then finally you are going to close the object dw, okay, and so that the file will be closed. Now you are going to compile this, no syntax errors. Now you are going to execute this program. So here you can see the number of employees. I am going to enter 5. Okay, so 5 employees. So now employee code. So first one is 101. Okay, now you're going to enter a name. So it should be done in any order because output should be displayed in alphabetical order. So Rohit, then hours worked is 48 hours, and then number of hours, rate per hour is 75. Just I'm giving 75. So that is first record. Second record is 102. Okay, and the name I'm going to give is Kumar, and then 36 hours, and rate per hour is 60. Okay, then third record 103, and the name is, say I'm going to give Bala, and 40 hours, and then 50 rupees per hour. And then employee code 104, I'm going to give it as Anand. Okay, right, then hours worked is say 24, and then I'm going to give 70 rupees per hour. Then finally 105, employee name is Sam, and hours worked is say 30, and then record, that is rate per hour is 100. Okay, that's all about the first program. Now the second program is the reading part. So I have done it in B input. Okay, binary input. Here this is the program which we created. Okay, so you can see on top you got both the packages, IO package and util package. Okay, and then we already discussed all this. I have stored the file name emp.dat as a string into a variable, so that I can use the variable inside. That's we already discussed. And then these are the variables used. Boolean, EOF, you know that you are going to read it line by line. Once it reaches the end of the file, it will throw an error. So that should be caught, and then it should avoid the program to hang. You should display a message. Okay, and then you are going to display, that is display the remaining part. Right. Now these are the variables I created. So the reason for creating the variables as array is, here you don't know how many data you are going to enter. Okay, if it is for 5, you are going to display 5 employee details. If it is 4, or if it is 10, if it is 15, so how many ever values, employee details can be stored into the file. So while you are reading it, you can store it into an array. That's the reason, so that it will be easy for us to sort it. Okay, in any of the sorting techniques. So that's the main reason for storing into an array instead of storing to a normal variable. If they are not asking you to sort it, it is better to store it in a normal variable and display it immediately. Okay, that's what you have done in the previous videos also. But since they asked us to sort the record in alphabetical order and display, you have to use arrays. So you know that how to sort it using by a bubble sort or selection sort. Here in this program we use bubble sort, right? Other than that, you got count variable and wages. Count is nothing but you have declared as 50, array variable as 50, maximum 50 data can be held in each array, but you are not going to use all that 50. According to the record you input, here in the previous program, that is input, you have input 5 employee details. So you are going to count as you are reading from the file. You are going to just count how many records you have entered. So that count variable will be the key to sort your records. Okay, and then wages, you know that you are going to find the wages. And this line, data input stream, to get the data, okay, from the file. That is, file name is nothing but, the file name is given here emp.dat. So that file name, that variable is used here, right? Now you are going to read it from emp.dat. We already discussed how to do that. So you have to use a while loop and then exclamatory EOF, not end of file. If it is true, then you have to execute this till it becomes false. It going to execute it. Inside that I use try and catch. The reason is, you know that once it reaches end of file, it will show, it will throw an error. To catch that, you have got try and catch. So here the normal thing, normally you will use employee code equal to dw.read long, all that. But here, since it is an array variable, we are using this square bracket. Within the inside that you have got count variable. So count variable declared as 0 here. So the first value will be stored into an array on the position 0, right? So emp of 0, emp code of 0, emp name of 0, like that. So instead of write, you are going to use read long, read utf, read int, read double. So it will take all the data and it will be stored in respective array variables. Now as you do, you are going to count number of records in the file, right? And then catch method, you know that you are going to it will surely throw an error that will be caught and it will just display end of file. So till now you are not that is displayed anything here. Okay, now the sorting part. Okay, declaring the temporary variables. Since you are going to sort all the records, not only the names, you are going to, based on names, you are going to sort the remaining, that is whatever it is, that is employee codes, okay, and then employee hours worked and rate, everything has to be sorted in order, okay, based on the file name, that is emp name, right, employee name. So here I have declared that 4 different temporary variables, t1 equal to 0, that is long, okay, default value for long, and string t2 to store the temporary variable for employee name, and then t3 is for hours work. So I declared as 0, initialized as 0, and then t4 for double, that is rate. So 0.0. The sorting technique we already discussed. You have 2 loops, okay, I equal to 0, I lesser than count minus 1, I plus plus, and then here again j equal to 0, j less than or equal to count minus 1, j plus plus. So you already discussed in bubble sort. Here, since you are going to compare the strings, you are going to use compare. Don't use greater than or equal to or lesser than or equal to symbol. Okay. So emp name j dot compared to emp name j plus 1 greater than 0. That means the first value is greater than the second value. If it so, then that first name is greater than the second name. So you have to swap. So you are going to swap all the, okay, you are going to swap the employee code. You can see employee code is swapped, as well as employee name is swapped, swapping hours worked, and then swapping rate per hour. So everything is swapped, okay, once the condition is true. After that, you are going to display the records. So as per the question, you have to display the weekly wages. So I have used /t and then weekly wages, and then system out println the heading, okay, serial number, and then in between /t's can be used. It depends upon the output. You can increase or decrease the /t's so that it will display it in columns. And then you are going to use the for loop statement and then take the records one by one and then calculate the wages. Since it is stored in array variable, you no need to worry about the files. You can directly take it from the array variable and then calculate it and store it in wages. Immediately you can display it. So serial number, since the loop is starting from I equal to 0, your serial number cannot start from 0. So you are going to use I plus 1, and then in between that you have to use /t's, okay, and then plus sign in front and as well as behind. So you are going to display all the values, that is emp code, emp name hours worked, rate, and also the wages. So finally the wages, okay. So this is what you are going to display it on the screen. Now you are going to compile this, no syntax errors. Now I am going to execute this. Now you can see end of file, because we are not displaying anything. It will just display end of file because it is already finished reading all the files and stored into the array variable. After that, you are going to display it in alphabetical order. See, you remember we didn't store it in alphabetical order. You can this is the proof here. 101 is here, right? So it is the record, the whole record, emp code, emp name, hours, rate, weekly wages, everything has been swapped. That is sorted out based on the emp name, right? If that is Anand, which he has the employee code is 104, hours is 224, rate is 70, and then the weekly wage. So everything has been sorted here, right? The whole record is sorted based on the employee name. Okay, so this is how you are going to display the program. You understood? Hope you understood this video regarding input and output from the binary file and display it on the screen. If necessary, you want to sort it, you have to use arrays and then display it on the screen. Okay, we'll meet in the next video. Till then, thank you.